president of the United States. Today's date is October 16th, 2019. Welcome to the program, folks. And on the program today, we do have with me Howard Paul Shore. He'll be with us in just a moment here. And I just want to say welcome to the program. And I really feel the urge to go over things that are important to the Americans, but also to grow this campaign and just answer to the issues. Part of that, just to be effective, means I think differently. Today, I know we have a friend on board, and before we get into that, I want to talk to you, my faithful supporters. Let's have a conversation. You know, sometimes I get so deep in thought. This whole journey for me has been one of thought and care, and always wanting what is best for each of us. And I know how important it is to get to individual happiness, but in order to get there, we have to make strong our collective. And we all understand we need to do that. So let us have the courage to come together for your country, and of course for your HappyHealer love in it. I love all of you so very much. Allow me to serve, and expect my offices to be reaching out to you. If you're part of this and you're reaching into our campaign, expect that shortly. We want you to be a part of our coalition. One we will make a winning one, no matter the case. We always evolve fast. That's what's great about it. So the question was asked of me recently. Oh gosh, yes. It was asked if I was okay, and I say I am great, and I have to clear my head to get my thoughts right. So if I don't stop and do that sometimes, just so as to stay on track, in more ways just to build the image back of what the whole looks like, because that's something that has to best be kept whole even through this evolution. In the evolution, all things, including that. It's a mental thing. I need to stop sometimes and gather my thoughts. I'm not actually stopped in my next task, sort of just looking at blank paper, and then when it feels inspired, then I go. And I am working most things on inspiration. Also, people can help with that. That's why, say for example, you called me and gave me ideas of your own, and we talk about those ideas, and I trust the information that you give me. We make something that's great out of that truth, and it's important I stay on truth, and it's important that I stay working within that truth, and that people are part of that so that they don't get confused, and sometimes they get lost. And you have to remember that in many ways I am in another frame of mind than most people. That there's a bit of a disconnect that makes me funny, a lot of people say. And that I'm aware of that. And that a lot of people are not always aware of that difference. And it's funny because I get them. And I'm very real, like you. And they want the truth, but a lot of times folks are just doing egotism. And egotism hates other egotism because it's supposed to be the star. There's no room for other stars in egotism. And you know, what I mean is these guys, they really get jealous like that. Have you ever seen them? And I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. And it's something we just have to do is call them out. Because we have an important movement. They deceive people with good hearts, pretending to care, but really they're out for making themselves more views, and they're intent on marketing everything for profit. That's all they're in it for. It's not selfless at its heart. And so, which in its own right is not to demonize them, I perhaps knows the most how greed runs things. So it's not even their fault completely alone. It's just that our collective is so sick. They have to live and work in this greed. So yes, these guys pretend to be care, but they are anything but care, and they sell out that truth for the greed, which greed is a lie. And look at us, they're not famous, they're not rich, they're just greedy. I value the written word and the inspired word very much. And I have weighed so many ideas, and the point is not to blabber. So I have to pull from so much the very important stuff. And that's what I'm trying to say. I elaborate, and I don't want to be a boring guy when I speak, so I'm often in discovery myself, because so much comes to me through the divine, like a moment ago, and it's inspired work, and it's inspired word, and it's not just me, it's coming through the inspired feelings I have, and many of us are having. And let's say if I didn't have that inspiration, then that would be bad. And so it's not a faked thing. We know that. It's a real thing, and these are energies. And I know that. And when you command and turn it on, you become so alive. You control emotions others only dream they can touch on. And with that power, you are to move souls. And that is the point of having that power. So I need not put that in front of one person here and another there. I am trying to get in front of thousands, and it's taking effort, because I can't be spoken down when inspired, and I almost always am inspired. So that's why I say I'll bring the whole country into my magical world before I go into the depressing world of hell and hate. Nothing special, and spit in your face disgrace is just not my cup of tea. And clearly our current world, I will never say is okay. It is so completely upside down, with people unwilling to go with a candidate like me out of their own greedy ambitions, and they fail themselves the most because of it. And I say shame on them for that, and I will make sure they know that through the very honest broker of truth within me. And that's where I speak from. And only through the divine word can you see that I am suspended mode, tone of voice crackling with excitement. One can't make on command without having made that divinely connect. You're brought to feelings that raise. That's what I like creating, and making that and holding that feeling for as long as I can, and to get better at it, and to master it. That's the way I fly drones. It's the same way I fly. I want to be at public speaking the very best I can be. And I will be putting that more to work, because I have to be more compelling, and I have a gift that I know I can make stronger. And it's good now, but I can get better. And we all can. And I know we can all prove ourselves to be so special and improve just like that. And I say it all the time. We are so capable and so special and so amazing and so central. I believe that if we get our collective out of this hell greed and instead turn to love's abundance, I think we all have the abilities. So I want to sum that and convey that to people. That is what they want to know about, how they can become better, brighter, younger, happier, and more confident, and wish they can believe again. They wish something had the ability to help them believe. That's why I want to work and see this through with all my heart and as much as I wish, because so much is going on right now. And I still need to reach out to the lawyers, etc. But you know, I think that everybody needs to be involved in this process. Trust me, I need your help, and we all need to be in this together. So love makes concessions, and you know I get what is idealistic and what is required to make the world go round. It's so special to know the truth of this reality and its intent for everything to be perfect in their unbinding and unyielding faith and perfection. They lack the very truth, despite the actual truth staring back at them, and then they still choose wrong. And I say, why? because I'm standing here ready to go, and there's so many of them. And so that is what I am realizing, and that I am good at showing people who have worked themselves into a corner, many of them, and not even aware that it's a corner they've blocked themselves into. I'm humble in that truth. And it's not always the only truth, because we always get better in our knowledge, and our knowledge becomes greater, and in that we evolve. And what yesterday was the test of evil, and today is our attempt to understand why. And it's not our job to judge, but to make it work in love. And that is helpful in the truth. Realizing and accepting that it is doing something about it, but ignoring it is knowing that we can't deal with it. And many things have to be ignored the way greed does things, because otherwise love loses more credibility. Love and greed have such an incompatibility that's further indication of problems with our society. It's a cancer, it's causing the downfall of our human being. The more openly we allow greed to control every effort of our waking lives as it is, it destroys us. That's why I always say it's what we can do in this life to get to love. Because that's where the party is. Everything else is just a mistake. And we are in some weird place we don't belong. Greed brought us here. Our rightful place is among God's technology and expressing the problems and taking care of the crises of our world. And in fact, we still may save our world with a HappyHealer presidency. And that's the stuff I feel I need to convey in our messaging. So that's what we're working on right now. That'll make it easier. Strong but easy. Keep things simple, but not more simple than they actually are. Greed treats everything simple like it has no value. Love keeps things simple, but not more simple than they actually are. That's what I'm trying to say. What can I say that wouldn't a normal person understand? And I am so sure on so many things because I see how special you are. But it's got to be those policy proposals that I know you see and that we need together that'll get us there. See, so I want to have a plan how I come up with a list and the agenda that makes us successful. That's something we're all involved in, and that's to be organized, and that's how love gets things done. It makes better sense, and we have our policy initiatives, and we're sharing those with you, and we expect you to share those into Canvas for us and to help us in this campaign. And that now I would like to introduce to you a good friend who I have been waiting here so patiently, Jeff. I'm sorry, not Jeff. And you know, I was going to mess that up, Howard, but I have Howard with me. And so I would like to introduce Howard to everybody. And Howard, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great, my friend. That was a long-winded little push there. What did you think?
That was a long speech, but you've got that all memorized. You've got a great mind, you've got great creativity, and you really know how to put your words out, you know?
Oh, thank you so much for that. It means so much because the truth of it is I work so hard because I know what's at stake. I really do. Howard, if we don't get the idea, if we can't share that and convey that with the people, then they're not going to understand. But let me ask you, though, because the main thing that I want to talk about with you is the real things that people are thinking. Because when I talk to them and I ask them what is holding them back, like why can't they see? What is frustrating them? I see a lot of the same things. They're so upset about Donald Trump, for one thing. Even you are. You're so upset about Donald Trump. And
I have to laugh, because, it's true. Honest to God, I've been living in the United States pretty much half my life since like 1990. I cannot think of, well, I shouldn't say that. I can't think at this point of a worse president than Trump. However, there was another one that I really didn't like either. It was George Bush Jr., I guess, the younger one, I mean, they're both bad in different ways, I mean,
right.
Both of them did the same crazy things. They do the tax cuts for the rich. They don't care about the poor. I don't like people like this. I need people or somebody that is for the whole country, not for a 10% of the very wealthy. No, no, no.
That's right. That's not the right way to do things. You're absolutely right, my brother.
It's called greed and selfish. I mean, for somebody that's got all the money in the world, Trump's got billions of dollars, do you think he cares about people that are living on the street that can't even afford food, or homeless people? He acts like he cares, but he doesn't care.
That's right. You can tell what care looks like. That's what love is. And what we have here, folks, is a picture of my friend Howard, who is on the phone. He is a Democrat. He has been a Democrat. Why don't you give him a little bit of history, Howard, since you'll be joining us from time to time. He's also a supporter of the campaign. And I'm proud to say that.
I am a Democrat, but, at this point, in my life, in some ways, I could be libertarian, I could be independent, because I may have a few conservative views, but that does not make me a conservative.
That's right.
Let's say Donald Trump does 1,000 things in his career as a president. I may like 25 things, but I promise you, I'm still not going to vote for him. Because 25 things out of 1,000 doesn't make me a conservative. It just means I agree with some of the things that you do. But I still don't like the man. I can't even look at him. He's disgusting.
That's right. And you know what? It's funny because I'm going to show you, too, if you're looking at your screen at the convention, and there's a lot of people who share that exact view with you. But at the convention here, look what we got here. This was Donald Trump toilet paper. If you're looking at your screen, you can see it.
Give me 1 second, please. I'm so sorry. I wasn't trying to be rude, but I have to be honest with you. I am a tuna fish fanatic. I had to open up a can of tuna fish. I was trying to do it without making noise.
Oh, you're quite okay. So I am concerned about the ability for people. They're so concerned about talking about the truth. For example, at the convention, everybody that talked on the podium, the people to whom I spoke in person, and the different interviews that I have had, and with different various people in the party, I heard so many varying viewpoints, as well as one main overarching view, and that is the commitment to truth. And so the Democratic Party is talking about such a commitment to truth, and I would remind the Democratic Party of that when people like you are talking about your truth, that you are someone who was an independent, that you're a Democrat, sure, but in many cases you're progressive, you want what's better for all of us, fast. Many people are kind of thinking like that. I believe it's driving the insanity, because they are so ready for differences that they know they should have seen and that should have been here so long ago. They're fed up, quite frankly. But that now, they're not taking no for an answer. So what they want is what they want, and until they hear the truth that comes to them that makes sense, they're just sticking to their guns. That's why I feel like our candidacy is different, because we talk to that honest broker of truth. We respect the truth. That's why we're in the Democratic Party. They're asking for the truth. This is the truth, and we need the other party with us. We need unity. So that's what I afford. I was against, get this, I was against the impeachment of Donald Trump from the beginning.
Oh, really?
I was. And now I know a lot of Democrats might find that not so appealing, but just listen for a moment. And you might also, because I know you're not very friendly with Trump. But get this, I was against that. The Russia collusion, which legally amounted to a win for Trump at this point, I was against that. So I am your Democratic candidate. That is your get out of jail free card for all things Russia collusion, for all things with this impeachment. That is a powerful thing in this election.
Right,
and that's because I have wisdom. That means I could bring the other side. That's what that means. We can't have this civil war. I think of the other side because I love them. They're not the other side. I don't think like that. Everyone's on one side in my book. But I see the disparity. I see it, and I know you see it.
Hey, I was about to tell you something.
Go ahead,
I'm sorry. Forgive me if I'm not saying the right thing. You can correct me. But I've heard stories that they say that Democrats, or the Democrat politicians who are trying to get impeached, are doing this to hurt the election, and it could make Trump have a better chance of winning by doing this. Like,
Yes.
especially if the election is around the corner. How do you feel about that? I mean,
I appreciate that. Thank you. And I absolutely agree with it. And that's why I've had the foresight to start with not to do that, and to be very straightforward why it was important to think with a clear mind, not to let a drunk lust and greed, wanting only my own way to shape my opinions. And I'm sorry I put it that way, because we have to call out greed also at every opportunity we can, because it's responsible for it, not us. It lives in all of us, and it's the enemy. So we just have to deal with it. And that's how we get to do income for all. That's how we get to do health care for all. That's how we get to do all of these things we should be doing to take care of humanity. So that's why I say I think this is a mistake, that we need to think like leaders. We have to put the political imperative aside, and we have to put what's right for America and unity first. And in this case, that means not disqualifying everybody who have camped their love in Trump's camp. They don't want to hear about these kinds of negative things. They just would like a clean cut if they were to make one at all. And that's what this candidacy is. So it's that for them, and for Democrats it's so much more. It's the most progressive candidacy. I am a gay man. We actually get to be progressive on so many fronts, and do health care for all, income for all, and education that starts young and never ends. All of it, because we care about humanity. And we're doing a $5,000 monthly income for families of 4, and a head of household still gets $2,500 a month, because people should be able to live out their dreams and fate in this lifetime. They're not allowed to do that right now. So it's sad. Rich people that are more affluent, they get to do that. And it's sad because America itself is rich. Our collective is so sick. So I would never have found myself in that, my friend. Thank you for asking that.
Right, exactly. It's just, this whole impeachment thing, I'm for it, but it's just amazing that how close it is to our next election.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm for it, but I wish it could have been, I just wish it could have been done sooner.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think that people are going to be mad no matter how you add it up. They're angry as it is. They've been upset for so long. You're not going to talk them out of being upset just because it's better for our country for them to not be. You're going to have solid reasoning. And so that's what I come armed with, solid reasoning, the honest broker of truth. I say, first off, I love you. So even if you find it hard that I love people that you don't love as much as I do, well then just try to stomach that in the knowledge that I love you, and that's real love. So I'm allowed to also love elsewhere, because that's my power. It's my gift. It's how I succeed. And if you rob me of that power, then you take so much away.
You say you love all people. That includes the Republicans, right?
That's right, yes.
I can't hear you, sorry?
Yes, that includes the Republicans. We love the Republicans.
Right. But the Republicans don't love us.
Oh, they will. Don't you worry. They love their HappyHealer. We got bigger things to be concerned about, but you're absolutely right. A lot of them, they have a lot of disdain in them. Not all of them, but there's some that are bigots, and they're on the both sides. Hillary Clinton, she said, and I always say, she called Trump people deplorable. At the time, I was one. And while she was wrong...
So you used to be a Trump supporter, or you used to be a conservative?
No, I voted for Trump. I was a Trump supporter. I wanted to see the wrecking ball, more or less.
No, I'm sorry. No, what I'm saying is, were you a Republican before? Or
No. I was always a Democrat. I had only switched out of Democrats to elect Trump, like many people did. And it's very important for Democrats to understand who we are, and more than understand, to put one of us forward. We will get the Trump vote that way, and we'll get so much more, because we are progressive with you, and together we are the majority. We have to have a smart unity, my friend. That is what my candidacy is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you follow me?
So let me ask you a question. I'm sorry if you have to repeat yourself, but you voted for Trump. when you voted for him, were you already Republican, or did you say you were a Democrat, but you still voted for him?
I was an independent, and I always voted.
All right.
But that doesn't matter because I voted for Obama twice. I voted for every single election. I always voted for Democrats. The only reason I was independent is so that I had freedom to. I don't even know why. It didn't matter. I'm not very political, to be honest, but I do care. That's not to say I don't care. And that's the reason why I'm running, is to put love on the ballot, because right now I see politics is killing our ability for, and I said it to you before, the continuity of life itself. We have so many crises fast approaching and they're not doing anything about it, Howard.
Right.
How do you feel about that? They're not doing anything about it. What candidate is doing the unity we need?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I really don't know.
None of them are. There's no candidate that has a unity.
What about Marianne Williamson?
She's lovely. I like her. And I think she would be great, much better than all the rest. However, I would be better than her because I have a very strong aptitude for understanding what the American people need. I am the American people. I have been there. I have lived their experience. I have the right perception. I can see that path of love. And I know the future, what we're working towards. And I see what was robbed from us and what should rightfully be ours. She is not talking about an income for all. She is not talking about education for all, starting young and never ending. That means we have to have institutions of human, strong institutions designed around care and growth and the enlightenment that we need. People to become better.
Right, exactly.
People want that, ultimately. People want that. They're ready for that. We're in 2019, and they know that these technology jobs are so amazing. These are the ones that people should be looking for, and this is the area where we should be going into. We should be empowering and ushering in a new technological age. And instead, our current leadership and even Democrats are talking about opening more factories and putting human beings into them, which I think is unconscionable. Think about that. Putting human beings in factories in the year 2020. How can you do that? Robots can do that. You know, when you can have a robot do a job that you otherwise put a human being that really needs to be living their life, really needs to be doing human work, becoming better, becoming enlightened, so that we can work on racism and work on these issues that are killing us. We have terrorism and other things that are tearing apart our society. So we have to get serious about the human being, and that means in the year 2020 to have an enlightenment. We had one in the past, Howard. You remember that? It's in the history books. It's the Age of Enlightenment. It's what led to our great revolution that we've experienced, the industrial and every other revolution, including the technological one we have now. It's all part of God's plan, in my view. Yeah. And then you have people that love God and they don't even have faith in that plan. And I get concerned about that because I say, this is God's truth standing before you here, running for president. And so I would be a very good choice for president. I bring people on the right, and I'm very progressive. I'm gay. I show so many people it's possible. I come from the bottom. I'm pure. We deal with greed in a real way. We put humanity above capitalism. This way we have a chance to actually raise the specter of the human being. We have to fix this collective and make it strong. When we have a strong collective, we have a brand new power. Our morality becomes something we have in huge quantity. Love builds on that power. Love itself is a power, and it's a choice. In that when you love, it's a choice, but yet when you love, it's also something that hits somebody and bounces back off of them. It has a reactionary power, and that's the power that I'm focused on. Because once that begins, it's a feedback loop that doesn't stop, and you see constant goodness happening all over the world. And that's what we need to build. So in this campaign, that's the great gift. And when we get there, we're going to see so much positive attribution to the productive qualities of humankind in so many areas, including science, ushering in a new technological age that fuels, and I say this humbly, a new super consumer. The very first one actually should be an American one. And the thing that we're risking in this civil war, every day we're in this civil war, other than staking the claim in the future that's owed to us, every day that we're fighting that civil war, we're taking away from this future. And so I say, what's more important, hate for your brother or love for this future? And I say love, because I'm thinking about our children in a truest sense. So as I speak to the honest broker and you, how do you feel about that? Would you rather have your hate or have the love that provides the future that fuels life itself?
Of course, we'd rather have love, you know.
That's right.
Love, balance, unity, harmony, good karma, good
it's
energy.
An entire system. That's the thing, Howard. It's an entire system.
Well, you're not going to get love from Trump.
And I don't need it, because I'm going to give him love, and I'm going to mow over him so fast, because he works and thrives in the energies. Remember, we all do, and so do I. And he's thriving because he's using hateful energies in a greedy world. However, love is the only energy that makes anything, and greed always has to steal from love. So that when you come in and love is your power, well, then you get to wield the major power that only others can dream of, that you can actually wield that power that makes people feel inspired. And that when you have that working for you, you're able to choose what fights and battles you engage in, because you win them all, because you've got that divine power on your side. And that's the difference between having love and putting it in the battle and not having it, because it is the power of God. God together, love and truth, equals and equates to our almighty creator, in my, again, humble view, because that's the way I've seen it in my life growing up. And I
have a question, if you don't mind, an important question. Donald Trump has done something, I don't exactly know how to explain it, but you might know better. He's done something with Amazon that has caused Amazon to basically force or cause stores to close across the country, and which was causing a loss of jobs, and then forcing people to buy things online. Trump has done something to cause this. How are you going to reverse it, or how are you going to increase jobs with all the stores closing, you know?
Howard, this is why you're on my team, sir, is because you're here to tell me about this, and other people too. And so, and I listen and I hear about these things and we react and we know that they're wrong. But that's how I would never do. I would never use the power of the presidency to settle a score. I don't have those kinds of triggers. That's what greed does. Greed encourages that. That's what those people trying to work in the false world of perfection do. That's why that egotism gets people in trouble and sent to jail. That's why you always know there's corruption when there's a greedy system. You just have to know what is that corruption, not is there corruption. That's what we have to change about this system, and we all know it's true. That's why we're always trying to put forward the most perfect candidates, but they don't exist, Howard. I know it. They don't exist. They're all
fake. I feel bad for all the people that are losing jobs. I mean, like, there's a store called Forever 21. It was a popular clothing store. I remember how well they were doing. I think it's all closed up.
And I have to elaborate a little bit more on that last thing, because I'm going to get in trouble for that. Folks, I'm speaking, and you know this, Howard, so you didn't think to question me on it, but I know I just upset some people just now. And the thing is I'm not saying that people are all fake in the end. They have to be that way in the world of greed. There's things we need to be let loose. We need to be put out of our jail. This is a sacrifice, the things I'm doing in this campaign, and people see it and they back it. They know it's the right way. We need a leader who's courageous enough in that truth to say that truth, so that we can have a smooth transition to the age of abundance, so that we can meet our needs of this time, so that we can usher in that technological age. Can I say that even slower? So that we, Howard, can usher in the technological age that should have already been ushered in, but so much is here already, enough so that we could free ourselves so much, and we failed to do it. We pay companies. It's absurd to keep people employed. It's like keep people in their jail. Why? Give them the money and let them be home and work on their humanity and have this enlightenment already. Why is it that it's so important? Because they need an income? Give them an income. We have to be realistic. Why are we putting factories up when we should be building factories that are of a different kind, of a future kind? This is absurd, and I'll never understand it, Howard.
Right, exactly. Go on. Next topic.
I appreciate you, brother, and all the people that have poured their hearts out, and there's so many of you. And I know, and often you guys are calling in, trying to get involved, and I'm so in my magical world, working and going so fast. I have so many ideas, and there's so many things I want to do, and I get so excited in it. And I realize what we need to do is just stay steady. And don't worry, I see the problems, and I know where we're bursting at the seams with excitement, and that we're all wanting to do something. Don't worry, we're getting management on board. We're thinking about these things, but we're also forward thinking, and we have offices springing up, people helping, and so we're building a coalition that works. And so I'm so proud of that, and folks, keep the faith in that. This Saturday, Howard, we're coming together this Saturday beginning at 9 a.m. and I'll be kicking it off right here on the website, HappyHealerForPresident.com, and we're going to be going out into our neighborhoods and passing out materials for the campaign, talking about what we are trying to achieve, what's at stake. It's going to be great.
Okay. Yes.
I'm
Great.
looking
Now let
forward
me ask
to
you a
it.
question. Ready?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about climate change? I would love to see a president at least make some laws that climate change must take place, not all talk and BS. Actually do something. They
That's
have to
right,
have some
and
kind
you're
of
very
law saying
passionate
you
about
have to
that.
do
That's
certain
why I
things.
got you close to me, because I know you're passionate about that. And you know what, Howard? You're not the only one. At the convention the other day, I seen sitting next to me on the left side. And by the way, if you're watching this program, don't think I didn't notice that you are also an environmental lover, just like your Happy Healer is, just like Howard is, because we care about life. It's the very reason why I'm running. And this is also another crisis. And while we're fighting our civil war, do you think that we're ushering in the technological age that will solve that crisis, Howard? No. But in a Happy Healer presidency, we're going to get directly to that work, and we're going to explain it as such. We have to be humble and get the love and get to a unity that works, so that this way we can take care of that problem. And that if you're not willing to do that with me, your happy and humble Happy Healer, who's literally prepped himself to be acceptable to the other side, so that we have a real unity. If you're not that realistic with yourself, then you're not serious about global warming then, because no other candidate can have a true unity. So think about that. Think about that. Choose wisely.
Right. I don't really think we ever had a president before that really had any concerns about climate change. And I'm not saying it's their fault.
That's
I just
right.
don't think that it wasn't as urgent in those days.
They
Or
didn't ever
in
have the
history.
unity. The problem is you have good people that get into office that have great intentions, but they can't get anything done. That's why we have to have a candidate that comes forth like this and explains in the primary season, I can't afford to muddy myself and say things that aren't honest now, nor can I be even against the other side now. Not in the truest sense. All I could say is what is true about all of us. And that is why I'm allowed to say the truth, in that we are a very hateful society right now. And that if you can't see that, you're not gauging to the truth. And is that not the truth, Howard? Is not this society so hateful right now?
It would be great to have a president that is truthful. I'm not saying they're all not truthful. I mean, but how many of them can be, 100% truthful?
Well, that's the thing. You could be truthful and honest to the cause. You know what we need to do. We have to take care of humanity. So that's the part where they lose it. They go based on that other truth, which is we also know that there has to be concessions, except for that when greed makes concessions, it's always about corruption. but that when love makes concessions, it's always about necessity. So that's the difference. You have to trust your leaders, but which one do you want to put forth? The kind of trust that says, I love, or the kind of trust that says, well, this is the greedy system and I don't care to change it. This is great. We all love it. Hooray. Hoorah. Let's go. Because that's what they're doing. And that greed is not working for us anymore. We're done with it, quite frankly. People have hung it up the bed. And so that's because for the next 100 years, these folks will have us catering to all that greed. And it does nobody no good. And so here's the beautiful thing, that by going with your Happy Healer for president, we acknowledge that early on, and we take humanity. That's where the problem is. That's what's sick. And we put it above capitalism. And in doing so, we save capitalism. We save the free world, our self-determination. And just to get there and to get to a unity, we'll have to flex our muscle of self-determination. So that's how we save our self-determination or freedom, is by flexing it and showing in this election we can put aside the political expediency for the American expediency, for the human expediency, and for the life expediency.
Right. I want to talk to you about electricity a little bit, if you don't mind. And I mean, hey, you know, it has to do with climate change. You know, in Northern California, PG&E has had some recent blackouts, which are absolutely horrendous, where about 2 million people lost their power for, I think it was a week or several days.
So bad.
Horrible. You know, it's just it's a disaster.
I know.
You know,
it's horrendous.
And Gavin Newsom couldn't really do much about it. It's like, well, is this how you take care of your own people in California? And it says if Gavin Newsom doesn't step in, he could lose his job.
Yeah.
So as a president, I don't know how you can get involved in that or what you could do, but this is horrible. People need their electricity. People are on respirators. People need to breathe oxygen. I mean, oh my God.
Let me tell you something. Most people around this country, they can't relate with people in California that have their lights shut off, because most people actually work very hard to never experience that. Because having your lights off is a nightmare. In Florida, we know a little something about that, having dealt with hurricanes. And one of the things that I've been telling Click Orlando News, which is my local news station here in Orlando, Florida, that I've been working so hard on. I've been working my little Happy Healer heart out and just trying to show so much love to this people and trying to break through. And I'm sure I'll get there. I just hope in time, in order to help and to deliver love to the White House and then love to the people and to the systems of love. But in any event, that I'm sharing our campaign with them, and I'm hoping that they hear about that. What was I saying before that?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't even know. I lost my frame of mind. You know, because I've been working so hard to keep this message moving forward. The truth of it is, we're all just ordinary people working towards an extraordinary mission. And we know that if we don't do it, nobody else was standing up to do it. And so that we're brand new in this and that we're alone. We might seem like we have everything put together and we're getting better at doing things and we're standing tall. And in fact, the other campaigns can't even match even what we're doing here. You don't see them doing it, do you? And that doing media is a very difficult thing, yet we have mastered it and we're able to extend that way of communicating on to the people who support us. We can inspire them with the very truth. They know the difference. They're not fools. They know when somebody's trying to speak the truth with them, or if it's just trying to get their liking for a vote. And that's the difference, is I'm not just out there saying what's politically expedient. There's a lot of things I could say that would be, wouldn't you agree that I could say a lot of things, especially given my talent in speaking, my ability to inspire, and just change a few things that people want to hear rather than the actual truth, and appeal to certain people and get their liking based on lies. But that wouldn't be helping them, because that's not the truth. And ultimately speaking, I think that what they appreciate most is that truth, and that they can respect that coming from somebody that has the honest broker of truth in them. They're not being partial. They're not trying to themselves, muddy themselves in that kind of, they have a higher purpose.
Right. So you are going to do something about climate change when you become president,
Absolutely.
right? You're going to make the companies
we
do
real
something.
things. That's why you're here. And that's why we have other people with the campaign that care about the climate change, because that's an important thing for me. And it'll continue to be an important thing. And just like I was saying, we're going to usher in a new technology age. We are going to take care of this issue finally, along with a bunch of issues. But we need the inspiration to do that. Remember, this is not about just me. This is about all of us. Howard, when we come together, we're building a vast coalition, one that doesn't exist right now. We're lifting up the people. We're inspiring them. I'll be leading from Orlando, and from Orlando, I'll go to where you are, Los Angeles. I'll go back to D.C., where the president's house is. We'll be doing this from all areas, but also from the front lines, because I want people to see the inspiration that we're actually changing things from the ground up. Because that's where this campaign started, was from the ground up. I'm proud of that.
Me too.
Thank you.
So, do you think we can get alternative energies in place when you become president?
Yes.
So we don't have to rely
That's the
on,
other thing. That's what we were
what we've been
talking
relying-
about. Thank you. Stay on bullet points. I wish I had another worker here. We would have them do bullet points, but they're in other states right now. But that's fine. That's what we were talking about, is the fires and the kinds of problems and the power
Oh my
outages.
God.
I mean,
The
this
fires
is
are
crazy.
horrible.
What's going on in
They-
California? They need a little bit more love, for one thing. Love would never happen like that. I was saying the same thing was happening in Florida, and we're having these hurricanes. They're knocking out our power. We have to make our cities hurricane-proof. We're Florida. This takes money. That means care. We have to get this right. So trust me, we'll be getting it right in a Happy Healer presidency. And in California, we'll be doing the same things. We have to acknowledge these truths, and also earthquakes too. They're very serious threats. And these are the kinds of crises that we have to prepare for. And instead of preparing for them and bringing in a new technology age that can actually do that, we're fighting a civil war like as if we were insane people. And we are. That's why we have to stop being insane and go with our Happy Healer for president, because our happy and humble and whole Happy Healer for president happens to be a gift from God in this regard.
Right.
I believe that.
Of course. So, let's talk about jobs. Any idea how you plan to increase jobs in the United States? Because jobs are being replaced by robots, by factories, and companies are closing up and forcing people to shop online.
Yes, all these other candidates, they don't really have a plan to deal with that reality. I see the changes happening all around us that you just spoke about, and I want to usher in more changes like that. Not slow them down, not curb them. I want to speed it up, because we need to deal with the crises we were just talking about in a previous segment. So that means we have to speed it up. I want to get people out of work and get them doing other things that help speed it up. I want them to live up to their potential. I want them to find their place in our current struggle. I want to define those struggles and say, this is what we're working on. Put them on the board. Tell the people, this is what we must solve. And to solve those things, and one of those things will most certainly be the global warming, then we'll also have all these other things, and racism, and bigotry, and the violence that we see that's taking so many lives. People need to be lifted. When we have the time to work on the human being and to experience and enlightenment, we take that gift from God. We don't put people in senseless jobs that robots can do. That's absurd. And it is asinine. It's backwards. It's rude. And it's quite frankly uncalled for. It's not needed. We have robots that can do this stuff. It's in vain to take somebody who feels and thinks and to put them in a job that God has gifted us the robots to do. And so we have to acknowledge that. We have to usher in more of that kind of thinking, like how we have our great innovators thinking. And that's what I support. That'll solve so many of our current problems.
But you know what? And I'm sure you'll agree. We seem to always have robots out there. They just seem to be more out there now than they were before. But we've always had them around, in companies.
They limit them. Look, here's what we currently do. Here's the real truth, the real 411 on this information. We take billions of dollars, if not trillions, and we give them in the form of tax breaks and tax benefits and loopholes and bounce backs and all kinds of creative ways to companies just to hire people, just to create jobs out of thin air sometimes that aren't even needed. Sometimes they have to go from taking the technological choice to use human robots instead, because that's the one that the government's going to pay for. So then that's what we end up with. They subsidize these jobs so that the politicians could say, I created these jobs, like what you just asked me. It's not important to me that we have people with a whole bunch of slave labor force. The modern slave labor force is not that concerning to me at this point. I want to make our super consumers a reality. I want to get the people slowly into a transitional thinking about our future, the enlightenment about serving to the greater purpose of human life, to realize their value and their purpose, especially at this time when we're afforded this great special gift by our Creator, the ability to actually give an income for all. That's why we have an income for all, so that we can get people out of this godforsaken situation where we're actually paying for them to be slave laborers. In the year 2019, we shouldn't be giving the money to the company, then to them. We should be giving it to them directly. That's absurd. I don't understand that. And so we're going to be investing in our people. We don't stop there. We're doing health care for all. That includes dental and vision, because in this campaign, we're putting humanity above capitalism. And that's what that means. Humanity matters.
No president's ever been able to offer free health care for all. Never,
That's
never,
right.
never.
Here's what makes this candidacy the one to be, and the one to follow, and the one to stand behind, is because we get the unity. They're never going to get their stuff done as long as they're working in that greed, because the greed doesn't allow for it. It's incompatible with love. They try to have both sides. You have to make your choices, all that means. And that when we have unity, because we have the right catalyst, love. And in my campaign, we're putting love on the ballot, literally. I am your happy healer, love. I have studied love and the benefits of it. I, as a happy healer, learned to become that through a spiritual journey, one I had to have in order to save my life, because I was a drug addict, and this is what saved my life. So it's a very long story, but ultimately speaking, it set me up for this. It helped encourage me to become the happy healer. And then as a happy healer, I can help folks and figure out so much. If I didn't find the right truth, I wouldn't be alive, and addicts understand what that means. And so this journey is the right journey for all of us to understand that we learn from each other. And so I'm out to teach. As a happy healer, I know I can show the unity that'll get things done. We'll actually have the unity to succeed where they failed. That's the difference, Howard.
Right. Well, I definitely hope that you make it, you know? Next year's around the corner.
This Saturday, we all have to be committed. Those of you listening, organize, contact our campaign, US at HappyHealerForPresident.com. Go to the website, sign up for the newsletters, watch the videos, see what we're talking about, get engaged. If you leave your contact information, either myself or one of our staff will get back with you. You can become part of our team. We are a team of love, and because we're putting love on the ballot, and we're not just doing it for dog catcher, we're doing it for President of the United States of America. It has power, and it's a worthy cause then and therefore. And we know what we're working for. We're working for a better America for the children. We're working for a better America for the mothers, and for the sisters, and for the brothers, and the mommies, and the daddies. They matter.
Right, absolutely. Yeah. What else would you like to say?
Well, you know, I want to say I appreciate all of my supporters and the people that have been showing me love through this run. Not everybody does show me love. Oftentimes people treat me condescended. I mean, why do they do that? I don't even know. I would say be appreciative of good people that step up and want to serve, because the problem that we have in this country right now is great people that really have great hearts are not serving. Those who are most susceptible to greed's temptation are serving. They're looking to put that feather in their cap. We're ending up with the solution and the outcome of that. we should have the solution in the outcome of love. It's that future that we had robbed from us. It's exactly what we're missing. That's bothersome to so many people. That's the reason for all of this insanity. I believe it. And so I say to my fellow American, I say, listen and get involved. Understand that you hold value in this campaign and in this life. Understand that you have a purpose and a value in this life that is beyond measure, and that every time you sell yourself cheap and you sell all of us cheap by doing that, and that when you stop doing that and you get a part of this campaign, that together we can build on the ideas and the powers of love. It's just that beautiful, and I hope that together we can do that. That's what I would like to say, Howard. And also, I'd like to have you back on this show, my friend, because I know you have so many more questions and things you like to discuss. You're a very interesting guy. We have already previously done a podcast. Now we have you on the live show, which is great, and you're great either way. And I want you to be involved and to speak your mind. You're so passionate about these issues, especially about global warming. We share that together, my friend. And also, I say to my viewers and our staff workers, we'll be calling out to the different news agencies. These people aren't going to reach out to us because they just see the necessity. We're going to have to convince them. So we have to work together in that. We are all representative of this love. It is not just me. I might be at the presidential level, but that means only that I can speak and that I can see it quite clearly and that I'm good at what I do. But we all have jobs within that, and perhaps you're the next one, who knows? And the point is that all of us together, we're going to have a great life. We're going to have a wonderful life of love. That's what we're working for. And that's what this campaign is about, that we all get to improve in this campaign and that we show love. And I only work in love. I don't get triggered. You know that, Howard. You've seen it many times, haven't you, my friend?
Yes.
I don't get triggered. I have an even keel. I stay focused, and I know what's happening, and I can get excited for the right reasons, because then I'm not getting excited for things that just make me angry. And so that means I am great at deciding what's most important for our future, and I have a great vision to see what is important. These other candidates are not having vision equal to the task. So I say, be wary. Let's get behind the candidacy of your unknown but soon to be known Happy Healer for President of the United States of America, and let's all win together. That's what I want to say, my friend. Thank you, Howard, for coming on the show this evening and also helping host it and interview me.
Very welcome.
Thank you, and you'll be back on the show again too.
Well, do it soon. Yeah, why not? Hey, there's lots of things to talk about.
There is. I really think you've got a lot that you can add to the program. And so this Saturday, guys, and we'll be back a lot in between then, but this Saturday and before this Saturday at 9 a.m., I'll be actually making a quick call out to the supporters before you get out there, like a session to kind of, get you off and, rile you up and inspire you, let you remind you what we're working for. And so this Saturday is our canvassing day. Our goal is to register Democrats and to get Democrats and Republicans registered as Democrats, to get all people registered as Democrats, and to talk about your Happy Healer for President candidacy and to understand what that means. We're going to be putting bullet points out so you can understand and you can be an effective supporter. It's so important that as a supporter, you can see your Happy Healer speak, but then you need to be helpful. You have to learn, what can you do to add to that? How can we sell the rest of the population on this vision? We know it's the right way to go. We know that this is the continuity of life that's at stake. How can we share that? Those are the things we're talking about between now and Saturday. So stay tuned. God bless you all, and good night, and thank you again, Howard.
Thank you. Have a good night. You're welcome.